Hey, what's good? It's Kyle Henderson of BAMA Football on with Sean from Huntsville. Today, we're talking about the Alabama quarterback position. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. I'm going to get right into it. I'm not even going to talk about introductions. You should already know Sean from Huntsville from previous calls. I'm going to play devil's advocate. So whatever Sean says in terms of being the quarterback, I'm going to rebuttal. Let's get into it. Sean, who is your quarterback for the 2023 season, at least going into the first week of the season?
If I had to say today, Kyle, I would have to say the starter would be Jalen Milroe. And I say that because the dynamic he brings, the dynamic that young man brings, we all know he struggles with passing at times, but the dynamic that man brings when the bad plays break down, it can't be taught. It can't be taught. This guy is amazing when the play breaks down. He's very good actually in the short to intermediate routes. I think the deep routes is when he gets himself into trouble with his accuracy. But if I had to say today, being based off the Arkansas game where he came in for Bryce, based off the Texas A&M game where he did turn the ball over, but we got to win, I would have to say Jalen Milroe would be my starter today.
Here with Sean from Huntsville. I'm Kyle Henderson. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. This is BAMA Football on YouTube. Okay, I'm going to rebuttal this. I'm going to go with Tyler Buchner. And the reason is this. Now, when transfers have come to Alabama, they're not coming to play second fiddle to anybody. We can look at the long list of transfers that have come to the University of Alabama that have been starters since the transfer portal has been in effect. And I think Tyler Buchner having the relationship with Tommy Rees, who was the offensive coordinator at Notre Dame. Where did Tyler Buchner transfer from? Notre Dame. You're going to link those two up. They already know the system, and I get it. It's Bama's offense, right? And we're not adjusting to Tommy Rees's playbook, but I think those two having continuity, that I think it's going to give Buchner an edge going into this summer season. Now, we're going to talk about, the locker room, and I know that Sean is probably going to say that Jalen has a locker room, and I think that's going to be one of the biggest challenges for Tyler coming in from Notre Dame is, can he win over the locker room? I think one of the biggest takeaways about Tyler is the fact that he is a mobile quarterback. And I don't think we've talked enough about that in terms of he does have escapability. He can get out when the pocket does collapse and make you miss and make you, pay as a opposing defense. I think he ran for 61 yards in this last game that he played with before he did hit the transfer portal. So I'm going to go with Buchner. I do like the fact that he has the inside track because the offensive coordinator is Tommy Rees, and I think those two are going to have a good continuity in terms of the explanation, the X's and O's going into the season. What else do you like about Jalen Milroe? Maybe talk about the locker room and some of the work that Jalen Milroe has done this summer, because it seems like he has a lot of those guys working with him.
I think Coach Saban, I think Buchner has an outstanding shot at starting. I think that's the purpose of them bringing him in. I think that they want to bolster the competition in the quarterback room. I think you wanted more competition. You want another guy in there that's going to push each other. I think based off what I'm seeing with the guys working out on their own, out of town, and the collection of receivers that he had was practically every receiver in the starting rotation, along with Danny Lewis, along with, a tight end, along with a couple of offensive linemen. J.C. Latham was there. When you look at Jalen Milroe, I think he has a handle on the locker room. I think the players know what he brings. I think if he just gets better passing, I think it's a no-win situation. I think he's a starter, hands down. I think Buchner and Milroe, as well as Ty, all bring similar traits in the fact that sometimes they'll give the ball to the other team. I know Ty hadn't played a lot of games yet, but as far as Buchner and Milroe, when you look at these guys and their stats, they're very similar. They're very similar as far as their touchdown to interception ratio. But I think at the end of the day, when you're playing these defenses with these great athletes on defense, I think the dynamic of Jalen Milroe to get you out of trouble, I think that outweighs the fact of him giving the ball to the other team. I think him seeing over this summer what everybody's been saying, I think that obviously these guys watch social media. Obviously these guys hear what we're saying. I think he understands better than most that, yes, he gave the ball to Texas A&M. He kept Texas A&M in the game, really and truly. They were in that game because of the turnovers that Jalen gave them. I think it was, 2-3 fumbles, 2 interceptions, whatever the case may be. That's what kept them in the game. But I think that being a first-time starter, a redshirt freshman, at home in that type of a game with the Coach Saban and Jimbo stuff going on and the team's amped up. That's a lot to ask of a redshirt freshman to come out and play well in that situation. But I think we've seen enough from Milroe to understand this guy has talent. And I think he will be the starter. I think the locker room supports that. I think Ty Simpson is the best pure passer on the roster. I believe that. I think Ty has a great future here. I think he is the future of Alabama football. But I think right now, this year, I believe it'll be Buchner and Milroe, and I think Milroe will start.
I want to talk about Ty Simpson because we all know it's a 3-horse race. Right. And Ty Simpson, the progression that he has had year over year has been really impressive, to be honest. And I'm with you. I think he throws a fantastic ball. We've even highlighted a couple of times right here on the YouTube channel. He has a good delivery. He has good mechanics. I think a lot of that comes from the fact that his dad is a college football coach, right? I can't even imagine how many times he's been in the room with his dad doing X's and O's. So he does have an understanding of progressional reads, and I like the way he sets his feet. But I also like the fact of how he can throw on the run. And we saw that the first spring game and this last spring game. I know he was hampered a little bit by that thumb injury, but still, I mean, to get out and showcase his running ability as well. Like, you have 3 very athletic quarterbacks. And again, with Ty Buchner, I mean, he does have an ability to make you miss, to extend plays. And I'm really excited to kind of see that 3-horse race going in. But with Simpson, I think, he's not far behind. And, depending on how he can develop some continuity or gel with these wide receivers, he's in the fold 100%. And I think the one thing that we do know is that Jalen Milroe can lead this team. Tyler Buchner can lead this team. And Ty Simpson can lead this team. That is what's making it such a controversial subject to talk about, because I think we're all kind of curious about who's going to be the quarterback. Now, the biggest question is on Tyler Buchner, because you're coming into a locker room that you don't know. You're trying to build relationships with your wide receivers. You already do know your offensive coordinator, but Jalen Milroe, he should have the locker room. I love the fact that he had a lot of those wide receivers going with him to Florida, putting in the work. I think that is a really big selling point for going into the season and having that locker room. You never want to see a locker room split, and it's not going to be split, but guys are going to work out with, who they can work out with. And that builds that trust that you need from a wide receiver and a quarterback standpoint. I think that when you look at Tyler Buchner, you look at the fact that he only played in 3 games last season. It was 46 of 83, 652 yards passing with 3 touchdowns, ran for 123 yards and 4 touchdowns in 3 of those games. So, Sean, let me ask you something. What is Coach Saban's going to, like, when he is looking at these 3 quarterbacks and we're going into a competition, at the quarterback position, what is Saban going to really determine this quarterback battle by? Like, who is going to be the starter? What do they have to do, or what do they not have to do to retain or to earn that starting spot, in your opinion?
Right. I think that coming back right now in July and August, when the guys get back, I think it's critical. I think it's absolutely critical when you have 3 quarterbacks that sort of neck to neck, 3 quarterbacks who has like talent. I think what will determine who starts, who takes the field first. I think who it can be consistent, who can lead the offense, limit turnovers, and pretty much not put us in bad situations on offense, man. Put us behind the chains. If you keep us in front of the chains, that guy will be the starter. If you go out there this time when these guys come back, and I can imagine it's going to be a physical first couple of weeks when these guys finally get into pads. If you can just be consistent on offense, I guarantee you that's some of Coach Saban's main criteria. You cannot give the ball to the other team. You have to be consistent. You can't get us behind the chains, down in and down out. I think that will decide who really starts at quarterback for Alabama.
And you bring up such a great point, because every single time we highlight Jalen Milroe, inside the comment box, people are like, turnover machine, because those turnovers stung. Right. Yeah. You bring up a great point. It did keep Texas A&M in the game, right? You cannot commit turnovers at this level. When you have the gauntlet of the schedule that Alabama does, a turnover is critical, right? It can be the entire change of the momentum of the game. It can be the game itself. So I think there's a lot of fans out there that are like, yeah, Jalen Milroe is, he's making progress as a quarterback. He might be the fastest player on the team, but he's a turnover machine. That's what's in people's mindset. So going into this season, and Milroe knows that, Saban knows that. So you bring up a great point. Who can be the quarterback to play mistake-free football?
Yes, sir.
Right?
That is to me, that is the end all be all. It doesn't matter what your ability is if you
Yes.
go out and give the ball to the other team.
Mm-hmm.
That will get you beat on so many levels in this
Yes.
conference we play in. Teams that have no business keeping up with us will stay in the game. You'll look up in the fourth quarter and you'll be in a fight that you should have never been in. So I think that will be the critical point that Coach Saban makes. These guys can all play. These guys can all play. Some may be better than others as far as passing the ball. We know Ty is outstanding
Mm-hmm.
at throwing the ball. His accuracy is unmatched on that team. Tyler, I watched a couple of his games. He's an outstanding athlete, to be honest. An
Yep.
outstanding athlete that has experience. This guy played against Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
He played against Ohio State. He played in the bowl game for Notre Dame. So this guy has some experience now.
Yep.
Watch him, because if Milroe goes out and does not have some great practices back to back to back, he will be the starter at Alabama. You better believe that. I don't mind seeing the young man out there. I just want the guy out there that I know will not give the ball to the other team. Like you said, that'll kill us. That'll kill us, man.
So my honest take right now, like if Alabama was to have a game on June 17th, in my honest opinion, I feel that Jalen Milroe is going to get that starting spot week 1. Now, it's going to be up to him to retain that spot. And I think that Tyler and Ty are very close, right behind Jalen Milroe. And that's, I mean, you want competition. We've talked about this before. Competition is a healthy thing. I just think with Tyler Buchner coming to Alabama, and I mean, he's coming here to start 100%. And like, that's what is in his mindset. And that's what should be in your mindset. I mean, if you're transferring from a major university to another university, you're not going to sit the pine. You're going to start. And I said it for a long time. You can go back on my videos. I was like, after the season, Alabama's going to take a transfer quarterback. I promise you. Mm-hmm. And they did. I had no idea who it would be. For a while, I thought it might be like play out with like Sam Hartman, because, you know, before he was at Wake Forest and then Notre Dame or whatever. It's kind of like worked out weird. And then it was Tyler Buchner. So, you know, here we are, and we are certainly talking about it. People keep writing about it, and rightfully so. It's Alabama, and it's the quarterback position following the number 1 pick in the NFL draft. So whichever way we go, those are going to be tough shoes to fill.
I'll tell you this, Kyle. When this move first happened, I was so discombobulated on what is Coach Saban doing, bringing this guy in, you know, blah, blah, blah. But the more I listen to him, the more I listen to Coach Saban, he's 100% right. You have to bolster competition at every position, even the quarterback position. We've been so spoiled, and I'm a total victim to this. We've been so spoiled with Mac and Jalen and Bryce and Tua that I lost sight of the fact that those guys are gone, man. We got to create competition in this quarterback room. Yes. If we're not sure what we have, let's bring another guy in and let's mix this thing up. Light a fire into these guys. I tell people all the time, when you go back and you look at Alabama's team from 2013 and you look at the entrance when they played Notre Dame, just everybody out there, Google Alabama's entrance when they played Notre Dame. When you see the confidence that team had, when you see the we're about to open a can on you, that attitude those guys had, it's totally different. Yeah, it's totally different from the guys when I watch them coming out of the tunnel present day. And that's got to start from the top. You got to change that from the quarterback all the way down to the GAs, man. Everybody's got to change. Everybody's got to get that hunger back. The fans, we got to get their hunger back. We got to make Bryant Denny an absolute madhouse. We got to make that thing the way it was back in 2016. So everything needs to be created with competition. And I totally understand why he brought Tyler in there.
I think you bring up a great point about kind of when you look at how Alabama used to have, I don't know, it seems like the mentality somehow kind of hasn't died off, but it's just not kind of that like alpha presence. And we were talking pre-show, talking about one guy who certainly had it. That was Tony Brown. Remember, he wasn't the best player on the team, but he had that alpha mentality. I promise. Like, I remember when I came here, and I saw him against, I think it was like LSU, wherever Alabama, it was a marquee SEC game. Rips off his shirt, and he's walking across the field through the other team's warm-up. They're stretching, and this dude is walking through, and he's just like, he's listening to his music, and he's like, this is my field. This is my turf.
You
And
gotta have that swag,
and
man.
the beauty about it was like nobody from Alabama said anything to him. Nobody
Right.
from LSU said anything to him, but they were thinking.
Of
They were
course.
like, this dude is on literally our sideline walking through our lines.
That's it, man. You gotta have that type of swag in this game we play. You have to, man. This is not chess. This is not
Yeah.
swinging. This is football. This is an absolute collision sport. You gotta have the aggressiveness. You gotta be the aggressor. Look back at Ryan Anderson, some of his interviews. You gotta be like that, man. You
Mhm.
can't be passive in
Mhm.
this game, or people will prey on you, especially the better football teams. Coaches like Steve Sarkisian, coaches like Lane Kiffin, these guys know, they've been over here. They know what
Mhm.
we do. They
Mhm.
know how our structure is built. They're going to attack you if you show any weakness. You got to go out there and be Bama, man. You got to get that swag back and let everybody know we're not here to play you. We're here to dominate you. Period.
And look, you can look at this as the Rat Poison podcast. It's kind of what I've been calling it. I love that Saban coined that because look, nothing is. I get it. A lot of things are going well for Alabama, and they continue to send guys to the first round of the NFL. But the ultimate goal for Alabama is to win a national championship.
That's
And they
right.
haven't. The last 2 years, the championship trophy is in Athens, Georgia. That is not the standard that you should be accustomed to. Like, that is not right. That's why Saban had to make changes at the OC spot, had to make changes at the DC spot. That's why he had to bring in a quarterback from the transfer portal, because he is not happy with playing second fiddle to anybody, especially somebody from the SEC.
That's a whole fact. That's an
That's it.
entire fact. I challenge everybody out there not to give these guys any credit or pub, but I want the Bama fans to see this, to really see the mentality and see, look at us in the mirror. This is what we used to be. Go Google Kirby Smart's message to his team before they played TCU. Just Google Kirby Smart's speech to his team before a TCU game. It'll make the hair on your arm stand up. That was us, man.
Mhm.
That was Bama. We have no reason why we cannot get back to being who we are. I understand we had these high power offenses and finesse and 1,000 passing, 4,000 pass
Mhm.
yards. I get it, man.
Mhm.
We got to get back to being a sledgehammer. We got to be, in Les Miles' words, we got to be the hammer, not the nail.
And I think another analogy to look at it, I love that right there, Sean, is everybody's seen the Rocky series, right? And if you haven't, you need to. If you're a young kid and whatever, watch the Rocky series, because Rocky 3, it's not the best Rocky, but there's a character by the name of Clubber Lang who had the hunger. He had the desire. He had the passion. And when Rocky was on top and we've all been there, right? Sometimes when you're at the top, it's hard to stay at the top because you become soft. Clubber Lang had the hunger. And I mean, that's what you need. You need that fire. You need that desire to be able to be on the top. You need to be hungry, right? I like the old adage is hungry dogs run faster. I mean, they do. And I think that does exist. And that might exist in Kevin Steele. That might exist. We all know it exists in Coach Saban.
That's right.
It's got to spill over to somebody. And I think, honestly, I know we're talking offense here and we're talking about the quarterback, but I think it has to spill over from someone on the defensive side.
Yeah, man.
Right? Because let me tell you this. He's not even a starter. But what was the biggest hit in the spring game? What are people talking about the most? It was the hit from Jake Pope.
Right. Jake.
That's what people want to see.
Yeah.
Physicality.
Yeah. Physicality, man. Muhammad Ali said it best when he started losing. Joe Frazier and people was asking him, Muhammad, what's going on? Why are you losing like that? You're the champ. He said, well, it became difficult for me to get up and go to practice when I was sleeping in silk sheets.
Yeah.
You gotta keep that hunger, man. You gotta keep that hunger. You gotta be able to understand. I think, honestly, I really believe that it's working, because nobody's giving us any love. This is the first time I can remember in recent memory where everybody is it's always a portion of people, but I think it's everybody's always talking about how we fell off, we're no good anymore, this, that. And I've heard that now as much as I ever have, with Georgia winning back-to-back. So I hope the players are listening. I'm sure they are. These guys are social media savvy. No one's giving them no love, man. That team in Athens took all the shine.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that creates a big appetite going into these practices.
Man, and you bring up a great point before we head out, is the silk sheets, right? Because you
Yeah.
look at Alabama's like facilities, it's like, is it almost too nice? Like these dudes need to like, I get it. They have to be comfortable. They have to be treated like future NFL guys, but you also have to be uncomfortable a little bit. And you have to, you know, kind of like have that dog mentality, like sleep on the floor. You know, it's like, but I don't know. I mean, the facility, like the upgraded weight room. I mean, that's so amazing, right? That they have these facilities here, and the way that the athletes are treated here, like it's amazing. Love it. I love the fact that these athletes have put in the work to get to that level.
That's a fact.
That's right? Like I get it. There's a lot of natural talent. There's a lot of genetics that go into it. But I mean, don't kid yourself. Like I saw a video of Justice Haynes. Just recently, like, put in the work. These guys,
yeah, that kid's working, man.
Yes, working.
That's a freshman, man.
Yeah, I know.
That's a freshman. I will say this recruiting class that we got here, this latest recruiting class with Keon and Justice and Caleb. I've been on Caleb Downs now. If you look back at some of your older shows, I've been on Caleb Downs now for well over a year and a half.
Crazy.
This kid, you need kids like this that can stretch the field. You need kids that's coming in with a hunger of I'm not gonna wait. I'm gonna take your position, even if you are a junior or senior. You need guys to come in with that mentality. That's how it was back in the other days at BAMA. When the freshmen came in, they came in trying to take spots from those older guys. That'll push the older guys. Nothing's given to you around here, man. We respect you, we love you, but nothing's given to you. I get so tired, man, of I just remember some of the past things. I would see kids after losses posting things about Louis bags and just all of this stuff, man, that had nothing to do with the football game.
Yeah.
I didn't understand. I did not understand the mentality. I watched Bo Scarborough talk about when he went to talk to the team, how the attention span was just sort of, you know, like looking at zombies. And I'm hoping the way you fix that is you have the most intense practices that you can have leading up to the season. In between the months of end of July and the end of August, I hope Coach Saban have some of his most intense practices that he's ever had. Take it back to 2011 and 12, man. You know, really find out who's going to be dogs and who's going to be sheep. You know, really find that out, man, because with the stretch of games that we have coming up, we better be about our business, brother. I promise you. Texas is coming in here. I got a lot of frat bros that's from Texas. You better believe, and I know that's skipping ahead, you better believe that when Texas come here, they're going to try their best to bring as many fans as they can possibly squeeze in here. They'll buy up as many Alabama tickets as they can possibly squeeze in this stadium. So we need to be focused. We need to be about our business, go out there first game, Kyle, and really dominate in dramatic fashion. Like, I mean, I'm talking about the other team should have zero. We need to dominate and set the tone for that Texas game.
Absolutely. Good stuff, Sean. Well, I appreciate you guys listening. Hit the thumbs up, like and subscribe. He's Sean from Huntsville. I'm Kyle Henderson of BAMA Football on YouTube. We appreciate you guys listening. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. We'll catch you on the next video right here on YouTube.
Roll Tide.